Hello, everybody. Welcome to CVG-TV. My name is Gregory Parks, and you are watching CONLink. With me is one of today's guests of honor. We have a game developer, writer, founder, director of I Need Diverse Games, and Twitch streamer. Please welcome Tanya DePass. Hello, Tanya. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So this is going to be your first time at CONvergence. Had you heard of us before you were invited?
Yes, I've actually attended CONvergence, but it's at least a decade ago.
Oh, wow. What do you remember what the theme was then?
Oh, absolutely not, because time is soup.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, actually, yeah. It's like, I don't even remember when my first CONvergence was now. I'm not remember. Was it 10 years ago? Was it 9 years ago? 8? It's just.
Yeah.
At that first CONvergence experience, what are some of the things that stood out to you, that still stand out to you about CONvergence? And did those have anything to do with your decision to return?
I remember it was much bigger than I expected. I don't know what I thought the con would be like, because I'm used to either something like PAX or C2E2 or something like WizCon. I didn't realize that there was a happy medium in between. So it was fun. It was a lot of walking. I remember that because it was a much bigger hotel and convention center than I remember. And, it was one of those early, I found my people. I found all the nerds for both games and music and media. And, it wasn't very literary focused like other cons I'd attended. It wasn't just all geeky, nerdy as much as SDCC or something like that. And when I got asked to come back this time as a guest, I was like, sure. Although, funny story, I really thought that there was a typo in the email because I got asked so long ago. And I was like, are you sure you don't mean 2024?
Because time is soup.
Exactly.
Well, we're glad to have you back again, and as a guest of honor this time, so you're going to get to experience some of the perks of being a guest of honor.
Yep.
What are some of the panels that you'll be on?
So I talk about the thing called parasocial relationships quite a lot because unfortunately I've had to deal with them in our spaces, and got great human fellow guest of honor Chris Kluwe on that one, and another friend of mine who is my +1/handler, but also just an awesome human being, Taru Hunter, who's going to be on it. And that's, if you've ever wondered what a parasocial relationship is or wants to know how to deal with it, especially if you are more visible in your spaces, more known, we're going to talk about that. Also going to talk about being a streamer over 25, a content creator over 25 or older, because a lot of people think 25 apparently is the end of life as you know it, because I don't know if you've ever watched streams, but many times I'll see streamers, they'll joke about, I'm so old, and then they'll say, I'm turning 25, and it's like,
oh, child.
Okay, right, I'm sitting here literally, you are young enough to be my child, and you're acting like you have one foot in the grave because you're turning 25, maybe 30 if I'm generous. On a panel that I did not suggest, but I'm on, called Passive-Aggressive versus Aggressive-Aggressive, about communication and conflict styles. So that should be real interesting. And I'm on one about fan fiction, which I'm really excited about because I don't get to talk about it very often.
So do you write fan fiction, or do you
absolutely.
Really consume it? What are some of your favorite, I don't want to use the word properties, but I guess, yeah, what are some of your favorite intellectual properties to write fan fiction about?
Dragon Age. Most of my fanfic is on Dragon Age, all 4 games. I've got one small fic for Veilguard. Most of my Dragon Age fic focuses around Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition. I got a little Mass Effect in there, a couple Mafia 3, but I am a big dyed-in-the-wool Dragon Age nerd.
One thing that I enjoy hearing and talking to some of our guests about is just some of the ways in which they are also just tremendous geeks, tremendous nerds, tremendous enthusiasts for gaming, for movies, television. Mm-hmm. It's immensely enjoyable. What are some of your other favorite games to play or shows to watch?
I'm so behind on shows because I cut cable ages ago. But I've caught up on some of The Witcher, a little bit of Doctor Who, but I'm so far behind, and for me, it's such a short trip to get out to Convergence. I maybe can get one episode or something in while I'm on the way. But in terms of games, recently got back into Tom Clancy's Division 2 because they just did an update. Still playing Dragon Age Veilguard, Baldur's Gate 3. I'm very big into narrative games, narrative-driven games, Western RPGs. But also, once in a while you just gotta get in the Division and go snipe somebody because some days you just need that catharsis. And I've got the Altars waiting on me. And on a slight shift, I've been into Palia and Dune Awakening because, fan of Dune, there's an MMO and it's got crafting. That was all I needed to sell me on it.
So what are some of the other things that draw you into gaming? And what especially got you into game developing? Like what were the triggers, the influences that drove you there or that propelled you there?
So for me, I've always been a gamer. I am got to go to the arcade years old, put your quarter down, get your place in line at the cabinet, played Pac-Man, all of those things, Pong, and always been a gamer, both tabletop, both video games, because with tabletop, you can just let your imagination run wild. I had a rule book and some dice, I was good to go. As long as I wasn't, hemmed up by the DM or something, or, didn't try to do something too silly. And it was one of those things of I love to write, I love to storytell, so TTRPGs were always a kind of second home for me outside of video games. And as for getting into game development, in 2016, which I can't believe, no, 2014, I correct myself. 2014, the hashtag I Need Diverse Games came along, and, it got a life of its own, went viral, and it sustained itself to the point where I was able to do panels about it, talk about it, grow it into an organization, grow it into a career. And through that, I was doing writing, I was doing diversity consulting, cultural consulting for studios. And over the last 11 years, wow, time really is soup. I've just parlayed that into opportunities to work with studios like Ubisoft, other places. And then I was able to join Monolith, which unfortunately RIP Monolith, we closed earlier this year. And I was able to, I was working on the Wonder Woman game, and unfortunately our game was canceled and our studio closed. But still in the industry, still looking, and I hope to join another studio and get to contribute to some IP or some new game in the future. But it was just the progression of I was very loud, known, and had opinions, and fortunately my opinions had some weight behind them, / I made sure I knew what I was talking about when I opened my mouth, unlike a lot of people, and it just went into a course of getting to write and consult on games.
Amazing. So you just went with something that you like be your passion and your work.
Yep.
What are some of the most rewarding parts of this work that you do?
In terms of the consulting, seeing people react to a game that I've worked on, because sometimes you can talk about it, sometimes you have to wait till the game is out. So there are times where I've worked on something and I've had to hold that for like 2 or 3 years until the game is actually out. But also just seeing people react to, oh, the consulting was done well, or the culture in this game is done well, and knowing that you had a small part to play in that. And in terms of TTRPGs, the show that I was on, Rivals of Waterdeep, it was conceived as a way to show people how to play 5th edition, that anyone could pick up the game and play. And it just turned out that we had an all POC cast. And a happy accident and side benefit was that we just had people learning that they too could have a spot at the table. They belonged in D&D. They belonged in other places and other tables. And so that was a happy accident of it. And that was never the intent of what we did our show for, or why we did live shows, why we did other things. But it was a good end result that more and more people of color, more Black folks would see us and go, oh, I can go do this too. That they could run a home game, they could try to have a podcast, do whatever. And that was something that was rewarding, but it was never the intended outcome.
Just a marvelous side benefit.
Yes.
That grew out of it.
Yep.
Amazing. It's always fulfilling when things like that happen, when things come on. It's like, oh, this we didn't even mean this. It just happened, and look how much people love it.
Exactly.
And how much people are getting from it too.
Oh yeah.
There's been a lot of talk about vulnerability in recent years, and this push to not let people see you be so excited or so happy about something. But what you just said, your story is a great testament to the value of that. Just like, go ahead, like what you like, be enthusiastic about it, because that will inspire. That can inspire other people.
Oh, absolutely. And I was actually talking about this the other day, where in the last few years, especially with COVID and, you know, being home and the people proving that they don't have any sense online, they don't know how to interact with humans anymore. The fact that sometimes you can't say a good thing happened to you without someone going, well, that must be nice. You know, how dare you? People are starving somewhere, or I lost my job, or, you know, they will have a laundry list of bad things and why you should feel bad about a nice thing you got to do, or you got to go do something for yourself, or, you know, I got to tack on an extra day to a work trip and go see friends, and people act like you've said that you're out here, you know, slaughtering people under a blood moon. And I think it's just it's really weird energy to be so invested in being angry and sad and jealous all the time that people, myself included, have pulled back from sharing things or being joyous. Although places like the convention and CONvergence, and that is a place to bring that joy, to be, I don't want to say in fellowship because that sounds more religious than I intend, but to be in community with people and to be like, I like Dragon Age, you like Dragon Age, because we're going to talk about Dragon Age at one point during the con. And, or just like, I got a ribbon, who wants a ribbon? And things like that, where it's hard to replicate online, but no one can take that away from you either. The joy of being around all these other people who are into the same stuff you're into, or even if they're not into the same exact things you're into, you're all nerds together and no one's going to like kind of squash your joy.
Right. And you get to learn about new things too. Earlier on in your answer, you mentioned things that you could talk about or things that you couldn't talk about in being a game dev. Are you at liberty, or are you inclined to speak about the 5th season at all?
I'm at liberty, but we might have to edit this part out. At this point, I believe the final PDF is almost done. And I know the Green Ronin is working on that, and like we're getting to see kind of sneak previews internally, but not sure of an exact release date. That is probably as much as I really know and can give answers to, because I'm a co-dev, but I don't have final say over anything.
Thank you for even those juicy details. And I suppose I should say, for the benefit of our viewers, the 5th season is a TTRPG based on the works of author N.K. Jemisin. Most particularly the Broken Earth trilogy. I wanted to make sure that I got it right. I'm like, I know this, but no, the Broken Earth trilogy. Yep. So this is coming out in the same, you know, the idea, the fact that this is coming out or even just being developed at the same time when we're getting development of Children of Blood and Bone as just one example. It seems to be a great confluence of media developing around Afrofuturism.
Oh yeah, and the fact that we also got South of Midnight, shout out to Compulsion Games, which...
Oh, I want to play that.
Oh, play it. It's 15 hours, maybe 20 if you 100% it. It is designed for people where it's like, I do not have 100 hours right now. But it's also one of those things of, this is history for a lot of people. This is folklore that many people in this day and age have grown up with. The creatures in there are based off real myths and real legends. And, you know, the fact that we have South of Midnight, we have Sinners, we have the 5th season, we have Blood and Bone. Like, we're eating real good for Afrocentric media right now.
Definitely. It's been some time coming to this degree. It's always been there, but to be closer to the surface and more easily accessible to so many people, it's exciting. For instance, the example of Sinners.
I rarely say this. To me, it's not just a movie, it's cinema, it's art. Because there are so many, I mean, movies come out all the time. But very rarely have I encountered a movie where I'm like, I need to buy the DVD, I need to buy the Blu-ray, I'm going to watch it on digital, and I want to sit here and have a whole thesis about Sinners, like go back and watch it for the things that I missed the first time around, because I was so locked in that there were all these little things and twists and turns and especially the music cues and things like that, where if you've seen the movie, you know what scene I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it because Sinners is one of those things where I feel like this is going to sound silly, but it would be a sin to spoil Sinners because there's just such a rich movie. Like, I walked out of that movie with so many feelings about it, and I want to see it several times over, and I rarely say that about movies these days.
I feel the same way, and I've already seen it twice. I'm still wanting to see it more, but but also, like you said, as a sin to spoil it. That's another thing from that I believe I've witnessed popping up in geek culture is there, for some things there seems to be a communal agreement that you do not spoil it.
Yeah, it feels like the advent of live tweeting and people kind of live reacting to things the second it comes out has destroyed the idea of let people see things. You know, there are time zones. Everyone can't see everything brand new. Like Sinners, I got to see it opening weekend, but not like late Thursday night like some people went out and saw it. And it just felt like, no, once you see this, you will understand why this is the community agreement. We do not spoil this. And now it's been out for about a month. It's on digital. I know a Blu-ray is coming. But there's still the, no, you don't spoil this movie. If you find out people have talked about it or seen it, that's one thing. Like, I made a thread in my Discord of if you have seen Sinners, you can have a role to talk about Sinners. Because if you wander in here on your own and get spoiled, that's on you.
There's so much to be said about the freedom to be enthusiastic, the freedom to have this joy.
Oh, yeah. And it does my heart good. I don't know about you, when you find people that are not afraid to show their nerdiness. Like most of my tattoo, actually, all but one tattoo is nerd inspired or nerd focused. And there's something about just expression, whether it's through, tattoos or the t-shirt you're wearing, or, those of us of a certain age, if you start singing the Transformers song, Dare to be Stupid, when you're with your people, because people will just chime in. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing.
Exactly. In the properties that you have enjoyed, games you've played, books you've read, whatever, is there a specific, or are there specific characters that you really that you would kind of like to be like, oh, I could kind of see myself being that character, or I kind of see myself being that character? Like, are there any characters like that in the things that you enjoy watching?
Oh,
or playing?
Interesting. 007, the Doctor. Definitely would want to be not a red shirt somewhere in the Star Trek universe. And for Star Wars, anybody but a stormtrooper, because I would hope that I have better aim. Not in the Imperial Forces. Hopefully I'd be in the Resistance. And as for Dragon Age, I wouldn't want to be the protagonist. I'd want to be one of the other characters that you get to meet. For anyone who's talked to me for more than 5 minutes about Dragon Age 2, they know that I'm a big Fenris fan. And I think it would be interesting for that POV when you meet him in Dragon Age 2, because that's the only game he appears in. He's mentioned a little bit in Inquisition, but that character, and there's so many now, of course, it's all coming to me. And maybe in some of the 5th season, but I'm like, the world's really jacked up at the 5th season, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, definitely, someone out of the Dragon Age world. Not a Templar, not an Imperial Stormtrooper, not a red shirt. But other than that, there are many characters I could see myself inhabiting.
Awesome. Nerdily beautiful, nerdily, geekily marvelous answer. I'm afraid we do have to wrap it up. Our time has come to an end, but I thank you for spending some of your afternoon with us today.
Oh, you're so welcome. This was fun. It's a great precursor to the con itself, which is only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I know a couple of days in the near future is going to be spent doing panel prep and all the pre-con stuff, making sure I've got my badge ribbons, and I'm excited to see everyone who's watching. Bye, y'all.
And thank all of you for joining us for ConLink. For CVG-TV, my name is Gregory Parks. We'll see you again.